Hi everyone, we're back in chapter 3, Physiology and Histology of the Skin. And in this section 3-7, we're going to describe the functions of the two types of nerves. So nerves are cord-like bundles of fibers and they're made up of neurons. And here I have a picture of a neuron, which is a nerve cell, and through which our sensory stimuli, remember from the skin, we were learning about the different sensory stimuli. Here we have a Pacinian corpuscle, we have the Krauss and bulbs, the Ruffini. These detect cold, these detect heat. And then the Merkel cells and the Meissner cells, and of course the free nerve endings. So those are the sensory stimuli and motor impulses, and they pass between our brain and the central nervous system, which is your central nervous system is just the brain and the spinal column. So they go through there, and the eyes, the glands, the muscles, and other parts of your body. Well, nerves form a network of pathways for conducting information throughout our body. And there's two types of nerves. There's the motor and the sensory. Okay, and we're going to start with the motor. And I put them up here. The motor, or the efferent, or you can say efferent. I remember it this way. It takes effort for a motor of a car to move. So the motor, or the efferent nerve fibers, they convey impulses from your brain or your spinal cord to the muscles or the glands. So that would be from here. This is your spinal column, and it goes to a muscle. Okay, and so they go to like the erector pili muscle, if you remember that. This is that muscle in your skin right here. So that causes the goosebumps when you're cold or frightened. Now, secretory nerve fibers are motor nerves, and they're attached to your sweat glands or your oil glands. So here we can see there's your oil glands, your sebaceous glands. Here is a sweat gland right there. And they regulate the excretion from the sweat glands, and they control the sebum output to the surface. The other one, the second one here, is the sensory, or the afferent, or you can call them afferent. Anyway, nerve fibers, and they send messages to the central nervous system and to your brain to react to the heat, the cold, the pain, and pressure and touch. So here I have this photo again. So remember, this is the first thing that happens. You touch the hot candle or whatever, and it goes up the sensory neuron up to the central nervous system. It goes through the inner neuron and down the motor neuron to a muscle. Okay, so that is called the reflex arc. But then that also, at that same time, like you've moved your hand by then, but it also relays the message up to the brain. And then the brain goes, oh, that was hot or whatever, cold, whatever the sensory stimuli was. And then, of course, it comes back down to the muscle as well. And so those are the two types of neurons that you need to know, nerves. And so I just, again, remember the first thing I do is touch something hot or cold or whatever. So that's the first thing in the alphabet, A. So I remember it that. So sensory, afferent. And then the second thing that happens is it goes to the central nervous system, and then it goes down the motor neuron, or the efferent, and to a muscle or a gland. Okay, so also in this section, there is a check-in question that you need to do, and it is name the two main types of nerves and describe what they do. So you'll need to write that out and then send that. Also, there's another little section called Chapter 3 Do in this section of that, in that folder. And it is the nerves, true and false questions. It's just 5 questions that you need to complete. Okay, I'll see you in the next section.